Unsettling encounters. Amelia had always considered herself a rational person. She lived a quiet life in the small town of Willowbrook, where nothing out of the ordinary ever happened. Her daily routine was predictable, and she enjoyed the comfort of familiarity. One crisp autumn evening, as Amelia walked home from her job at the local library, she felt a strange sensation. It was as if someone's eyes bore into the back of her head. She quickened her pace, dismissing the eerie feeling as mere paranoia. After all, Willowbrook was a safe, tight-knit community. Turning the corner onto Elm Street, she caught a glimpse of something unusual in her peripheral vision. A shadow, darker than the night, darted behind a row of houses. Her heart skipped a beat. She hesitated but decided it must be a trick of the street lamp's flickering light. Amelia continued walking, her footsteps echoing in the quiet street. That's when she heard it, the faint rhythmic sound of footsteps that mirrored her own. Her pulse quickened and she dared not look back. She reasoned that someone must be walking home the same way she was, but the sense of unease gnawed at her. Approaching her house, she couldn't ignore the feeling any longer. Amelia turned abruptly and her breath caught in her throat. A shadowy figure, tall and indistinct, stood at the far end of the street. Its eyes, or what passed for eyes, gleamed in the dimness. Panicking, Amelia rushed inside and locked the door. She peeked out through the curtains, but the shadowy stalker had vanished into the night. Her heart raced, and for the first time in her life, she felt an inexplicable fear that would soon consume her every thought. Little did she know that this unsettling encounter was just the beginning of a nightmare that would unravel the very fabric of her reality. Increasing paranoia. The following days were marked by a growing sense of unease that had lodged itself deep within Amelia's mind. Every corner turned, every window gazed out of, and every street she walked seemed fraught with tension. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. The shadowy figure reappeared more frequently, each time a little closer. At the grocery store, it stood at the end of the aisle. During her evening jog, it emerged from the misty woods. In the reflection of her bathroom mirror, it lurked in the corner of her eye. Amelia had confided in her closest friend, Sarah, who had known her for years. Sarah tried her best to offer rational explanations, suggesting it was just a coincidence or the result of stress at work. But Amelia wasn't convinced. The figure's malevolent presence was undeniable. One evening, as Amelia sat alone in her dimly lit living room, she decided to document the occurrences. Armed with a camera, she captured images of the shadowy stalker lurking in the background of her photographs, its presence undeniable in each shot. The evidence didn't bring her the comfort she had hoped for. Instead, it intensified her fear. Sarah, after seeing the images, urged her to contact the local police. Amelia hesitated, fearing they would dismiss her claims as the product of an overactive imagination. But as the figure drew closer each day, she knew she had to take action. Amelia couldn't continue living in constant fear, and she was determined to uncover the truth behind the shadowy stalker. Uncovering clues, with the photographs as her only proof, Amelia decided to take matters into her own hands. She began investigating the origins of the shadowy stalker, hoping to find any clues that could explain its sinister presence. She started by delving into the history of Willowbrook, looking for any incidents or legends that might be connected to her mysterious follower. It wasn't long before she stumbled upon a local urban legend that sent shivers down her spine. The tale told of a vengeful spirit known as the Willowbrook Wraith. According to the legend, this malevolent entity was said to stalk those who had wronged it in life, seeking retribution for past sins. The Willowbrook Wraith was believed to be bound to the town, unable to move on to the afterlife until it had completed its mission of vengeance. As Amelia read more about the legend, she couldn't help but notice the striking resemblance between the descriptions of the Willowbrook Wraith and the shadowy stalker that haunted her. It was as if the legend had come to life. Determined to learn more, she contacted a local historian who specialized in the town's history and folklore. The historian confirmed the existence of the legend and shared stories of people in the past who had claimed encounters with the Willowbrook Wraith. Amelia knew she was onto something significant. The legend provided a potential link to the identity and motives of her shadowy stalker. It was a chilling revelation, but it gave her a starting point for her investigation. She was now more convinced than ever that she needed to confront the shadowy stalker and uncover the truth behind its presence in her life. Descent into obsession. Amelia's obsession with the shadowy stalker grew with each passing day. The idea of the Willowbrook Wraith, a vengeful spirit from a local legend, consumed her thoughts. She couldn't escape the feeling that the figure was a manifestation of the town's dark history. Nights brought no respite as her dreams were haunted by the sinister shadow, and each morning she awoke in a cold sweat. The line between her waking life and nightmares blurred, and she became increasingly convinced that the stalker was more than just a legend brought to life. Friends and family grew concerned as they watched her mental state deteriorate. They urged her to let go of her fixation, to move on and find peace, but Amelia couldn't. The Willowbrook Wraith had become an undeniable part of her life. She had even stopped going to work at the library, unable to concentrate on anything other than the shadowy stalker. Her days were spent poring over old books and documents, seeking any information that might explain its presence. One evening, while examining an ancient journal in the town's historical archives, Amelia discovered a chilling entry. It detailed a resident's encounter with the Willowbrook Wraith, and it spoke of a way to confront the vengeful spirit. But the method was cryptic, and it filled her with a sense of dread. As the days turned into weeks, Amelia's obsession was pushing her to the brink. She felt compelled to unravel the mystery behind the shadowy stalker, no matter the cost. But little did she know that confronting the unknown could lead to consequences beyond her wildest nightmares. Confrontation with the unknown. The cryptic entry in the ancient journal had consumed Amelia's thoughts. It hinted at a way to confront the Willowbrook Wraith, the very entity that had become a terrifying part of her life. She couldn't ignore it any longer. She needed answers, no matter the risk. Armed with the journal, Amelia devised a plan to confront the shadowy stalker. She believed that by following the clues in the journal, she could find a way to communicate with the spirit and, hopefully, learn the truth behind its existence. She set a trap, choosing a moonless night when the town was shrouded in darkness. In the eerie silence, she stood at the spot where the figure had first appeared to her. Holding the journal, she followed the instructions, chanting the cryptic incantations it contained. The air grew colder, and a sense of foreboding hung heavy around her. Amelia's heart raced as she continued the ritual, the words taking on an otherworldly resonance. She knew that the Willowbrook Wraith would soon arrive, but she had no idea what to expect. Minutes passed, each one feeling like an eternity. Then, in the distance, a shape began to materialize from the shadows. It was the shadowy stalker, but now it was more distinct, taking on a sinister, ethereal form. The figure moved closer, its presence growing more palpable with every step. Panic surged within Amelia, but she steeled herself for the confrontation. She had come too far to back down now. As the Willowbrook Wraith drew near, a chilling silence enveloped them. Amelia could see its eyes, pools of darkness that seemed to pierce into her very soul. The moment of truth had arrived, and she was about to confront the unknown, hoping that it would provide the answers she so desperately sought. Seeking help. Amelia's heart pounded as she faced the Willowbrook Wraith, the shadowy stalker that had haunted her every step. Its eyes, dark and piercing, held her in an otherworldly gaze. The encounter had become a chilling reality, and she knew she had to make sense of it. She cautiously began to speak, seeking to communicate with the entity that had been her relentless pursuer. "Who are you? Why have you been following me?" she asked, her voice trembling. The Willowbrook Wraith remained silent, its form flickering like a dark flame. Amelia was unsure if it could even understand her words. She had hoped for answers, but it seemed that the spirit was as enigmatic as ever. Desperate for guidance, Amelia sought out a local expert on the supernatural, a woman named Professor Eleanor Hastings, who had devoted her life to researching the unknown. She had heard of the professor's work in Willowbrook and believed that she might have insights into the Willowbrook Wraith. Amelia shared her experiences and showed Professor Hastings the photographs in the journal she had discovered. The professor listened intently and examined the evidence, her expression growing grave as she did so. After a long pause, Professor Hastings finally spoke. "The Willowbrook Wraith is a vengeful spirit bound to this town by a dark history," she explained. "It seeks to expose the secrets and sins of those who cross its path, as a form of penance for the wrongs committed against it." Amelia's mind raced with the implications of the professor's words. She realized that she may be connected to the spirit's mission in a way she hadn't anticipated. The Willowbrook Wraith was a guardian of hidden truths, and its pursuit of her was more complex than she had ever imagined. The professor offered to help Amelia learn more about the spirit and potentially find a way to put an end to its haunting. But as Amelia delved deeper into the darkness of the town's history, she would soon realize that uncovering the truth would come at a steep price. Resolution and revelation. Amelia's collaboration with Professor Hastings marked the beginning of a new, intense phase in her journey. Together, they sought to uncover the deeper secrets of Willowbrook and its connection to the vengeful spirit that had tormented her. They began their research in earnest, piecing together the town's history, unsolved mysteries, and the lives of its past inhabitants. The more they delved into the past, the clearer it became that the Willowbrook Wraith had a tragic story of its own. Amelia learned that the spirit was the restless soul of a woman named Eliza Hawthorne, who had lived in Willowbrook over a century ago. She had been unjustly accused of a terrible crime, leading to her untimely death and a thirst for vengeance that transcended the boundaries of life and death. As Amelia and Professor Hastings delved deeper into Eliza's history, they uncovered a hidden conspiracy, a town's collective guilt, and a series of tragic events that had led to Eliza's persecution. The final confrontation with the Willowbrook Wraith was imminent. Armed with the knowledge of the spirit's true identity and its unfulfilled mission, Amelia, alongside Professor Hastings, devised a plan to offer Eliza closure. In the heart of Willowbrook, they created a sacred circle where they summoned the spirit. With great trepidation, they began to recite a ritual that would allow Eliza to finally confront those who had wronged her. The Willowbrook Wraith appeared, its shadowy form more forlorn than menacing. It gazed at Amelia and the professor, its eyes filled with a mixture of anger and sadness. But this time, it didn't seem to be stalking them. It appeared almost expectant, as if it had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. Amelia, now emboldened by the knowledge she had gained, addressed the spirit with empathy and compassion. She spoke of the injustices Eliza had endured and the torment that had driven her to become the Willowbrook Wraith. She implored Eliza to find peace and allow the town to acknowledge its dark past. As the ritual reached its culmination, the figure that had haunted Amelia for so long seemed to lose its malevolence. It wavered, its form dissolving into an ethereal mist. Eliza's tormented soul, finally unburdened, found release ascending beyond the earthly realm. The town of Willowbrook was forever changed. It could no longer hide its dark history, and the revelation of its past sins opened the door to healing and reconciliation. Amelia had succeeded in confronting the unknown and helping the spirit find peace, but the consequences of her actions were far from over. As the mist enveloped Eliza and the night returned to silence, Amelia knew that her life would never be the same. Her journey had been one of discovery, redemption, and ultimately transformation as she had confronted the Willowbrook Wraith and brought about a resolution that would resonate through the ages. In the aftermath of the ritual that had released Eliza Hawthorne, the Willowbrook Wraith, Amelia felt a profound sense of relief. The relentless pursuit that had shadowed her every move had come to an end. But her journey was far from over, and the town of Willowbrook would never be the same. The revelation of Willowbrook's dark history sent shockwaves through the community. Families that had long held onto their secrets were now forced to confront the past and acknowledged the injustices that had been committed. The town was divided between those who wanted to sweep the truth under the rug and those who believed that only by acknowledging their collective guilt could they find redemption. Amelia became a symbol of the town's transformation. Her experiences with the Willowbrook Wraith had led her to uncover the truth, and she was determined to ensure that the town learned from its mistakes and took steps toward healing. She became an advocate for truth and reconciliation, working alongside Professor Hastings to document the town's history and create a memorial to honor Eliza Hawthorne. The process of healing and redemption was not without its challenges. Some residents resisted the changes, and there were those who felt threatened by the exposure of their own family secrets. But Amelia's resolve was unyielding, and the town gradually began to embrace the path of healing and redemption. As the years passed, Willowbrook underwent a remarkable transformation. It became a symbol of a community's ability to confront its past and, in doing so, forge a better future. The town that had once been shrouded in darkness now stood as a beacon of hope and reconciliation. Amelia's life had been forever changed by her encounter with the shadowy stalker, the Willowbrook Wraith. She had confronted the unknown and helped bring about a resolution that transcended the boundaries of life and death. Her journey had been one of courage, discovery, and transformation, and her story would serve as a reminder that even in the face of the darkest secrets, there was always the potential for redemption and healing.